Hey loves, welcome back to Day Spills Tea. I, of course, am the lovely Day. Okay, Real Housewives of Potomac. Hindsight is 2020. And if Jacqueline is watching what we're watching, I know she has to be asking herself why the hell she was ever friends with Mia Thornton. And I'm assuming Peter's probably wondering the same thing. And a lot of other people probably wonder that very same thing about her. And if they're not right now, they probably will at some point in the future. But that's just my opinion. But before I get into recapping and reviewing and all of that, go ahead and hit thumbs up. Show me some love. Do what y'all do so well, which is get in the comments and tell me exactly what you think, especially when y'all tell me that I'm wrong. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and take care of that today. Click the little red subscribe button, ring the notification bell so that way you can be notified as soon as I post a video. Okay, let's get into it. So the episode opens up with Karen going to visit Giselle at her frontwards backwards house. And Giselle has done all sorts of updates and decor, and she has it together, honey. And she's excited to show Karen. And Karen is so kind that she's pretending to like it. And then when production actually asks her how she feels about the house, she's like, I like the front chandelier. I like the front chandelier too. And the one fuzzy Gucci pillow, but that was about it. Giselle's clothing, her fashion, her taste in men, her taste in decor, it's all very Giselle, and we'll let her have that. So, I mean, it just really honestly is what it is. And Karen's like, I wish I had something, more nice to say than I like your chandelier. But honey, it is what it is, okay? So anyways, Giselle asked her about her relationship with Mia, and Karen said that when Mia is wrong, she owns it. I'm very confused, but again, I understand that editing may have caused us to miss some things where Mia was owning her behavior when they were down in Miami, because we haven't really seen that on the show. So I don't know why Karen said that. I guess it really only matters how she treats you and not how she is as an actual human being. So I was kind of disappointed to hear her say that. But then she said she did not like Jacqueline finishing Mia's sentences, and I fully concur. Like, Jacqueline seems cool. She's gorgeous. She seems like a ride or die friend. But being a ride or die friend, I don't have to be your mouthpiece. And I said it in my other video. I did not like her summoning Karen for Mia and introducing the conversation for Mia and telling Karen what Mia's feelings are. Mia is a grown woman with a hell of a lot to say. There is no need. There is no need. So Giselle and Karen start talking. Giselle is telling Karen about the issues with Mia and Jacqueline at the pool, or really just with Mia. And Mia is saying how if Jacqueline wasn't riding around in her cute little Porsche, then I wouldn't be a good friend. And I felt like that was really just Mia taking credit where credit wasn't due. I felt like it was Mia just talking out of the side of her neck. I didn't personally get from that what Giselle took from that, because Giselle is saying it indicates that Mia bought Jacqueline's Porsche. It indicates that maybe G bought Jacqueline's Porsche. I get very frustrated when people take credit from women who work hard. I don't know Jacqueline personally. I don't know Mia personally. But if I were Jacqueline, I would have a problem with people spreading that narrative that my friend or my friend's husband had to buy my whip that I worked hard for. But I don't know who bought it. I just didn't get that from it. And I don't know why Giselle took it there. And then she starts saying, about them sharing a man in the past. Well, if they were doing it in the past, then are they doing it currently? How did you get there? Like, where did that come from? Because I didn't feel like there was any indication that that was necessarily the case. I don't see Jacqueline being interested in G. No disrespect, but I just don't see it. Anyways, but I'm curious if y'all were feeling the same way that Giselle is feeling. So definitely let me know in the comments, because maybe I'm slow. I don't know about y'all, but usually as soon as Ashley comes on the screen, I feel so bored and uninterested. But I stayed engaged and I paid attention. And so she's there with the kids, and the nanny comes in and she starts talking to the nanny about finding a new home with Michael. And I was just thinking, like, okay, so in her scenes without the rest of the cast, we've seen her talking her business with the nanny, the publicist, and her her friend, who she planted to cause some issues with Chris Bassett. And she had just met that girl at some mommy and me plaything or whatever. And it just made me think, where's Ashley's friends? Because Giselle and Robin, them, they not really her friends. Karen not really her friend. Candace not her friend. Wendy not her friend. Like, where are her friends? Like, some of the other ladies, we've seen them interacting with other people, you know, but Ashley don't have no real friends, or her real friends have not agreed to do this pretend divorce nonsense. And that's really the theory that I'm going with, is that her real friends and her real family not about to sit up here and do this pretend divorce stuff with her. But anyways, I digress. So we move on to Robyn and Gizelle. They're planning their live show for their podcast, which it makes sense for them to have a live show because they actually have a podcast. But they've got this venue. The venue apparently is too big for the number of tickets they sold. They're still trying to figure the show out. Apparently, they're going to talk and then bring Juan out. Now, why anybody would make a show surrounding around Juan appearing, I will never understand, because y'all know that it is very, very, very likely that he will not be in attendance. Okay, so I don't even, and from the sounds of things, it doesn't even look like he is fully aware or has truly agreed to participate in this show. I don't know. But we also learned that Gizelle isn't even invited to Robyn's wedding. And I get the feeling that, you know, there's definitely some sort of a little disconnect in their friendship this season, because we know that in former seasons, before they began recording, they usually decide what their plots are going to be. Like, they figure out what they planning on doing with the rest of the season. And it doesn't feel like they did that this time. Like, Robyn doesn't seem like she was on board with what Gizelle wanted to do as far as making accusations against Chris Bassett. And it sounds like Robyn has not included Gizelle in her fake storyline about actually having a wedding, because y'all supposed to have been sisters all these years. Why would Gizelle not be included in your wedding? Like, that's kind of bananas. But, you know, what wedding? You know, in the words of the great Wendy Osefo, Dr. Wendy Osefo, we all know she lying. So anyways, then we move on to Robyn and Juan at home, and they discuss, you know, preparing for the wedding. And Robyn is saying it's so hard to pick a date. And Juan is like, no, it's not. Like, it's up to you. And it just seems like Robyn is just kind of dragging her feet. I'm not sure. Neither one of y'all really plan on getting married. Like, let's be for real. Anyway, so she lets him know that the attorney is suggesting that they have a prenup for, like, with an infidelity clause. And he was like, I don't see why that's necessary. Yeah. Like, we know that there were some issues, or we speculate that there were some issues with infidelity in the past. So yeah, I would have thought that Juan would have just been like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna do a prenup, you might as well cover, you know, cover everything, dot all your I's, cross all your T's. But obviously there were rumors in the past that Robyn had a relationship with Juan's friend. Rumors, alleged, okay, that Robyn had a relationship with Juan's friend from the past, the one who took their money, and, you know, things of course ended very tragically there. And then she's saying that when they were having issues, Juan started seeing other people and everything. And my feeling is if she is the one who's initiating this prenup, I would just put it in there. Like, why we need to talk about it? For him to tell you that there's no reason for it. And he's like, we're not those people. If you felt 100% like nothing could go wrong, there'd be no need for the prenup whatsoever. But if you're thinking that things could go left for whatever reason, I would personally cross all my T's and dot all my I's. Anyways, so then we get a glimpse of Candace at her video shoot. I thought she looked very, very cute. Trina, of course, is gorgeous all the time. I think that the video is really giving Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Feeling Myself vibes. Like, it looks like it's maybe styled after that, or maybe they just look similar to me. I don't know, but I don't have any complaints about it. I actually like that song. I think the song is kind of dope. So Karen stops by to visit Mia and, of course, fill her in on all the good gummy juiciness that Gizelle has told her. So she lets Mia know that Gizelle said, you know, the things about her and Jacqueline showering together. And she told her the things about how Jacqueline has been allowed to indulge in some things, people, that belong to Mia. And of course, Gizelle made it sound like, you know, this is something that's going on right now, and we don't know that to be true, okay? And Giselle also made it sound like Mia was like responsible for funding Jacqueline's life, and that she bought her this Porsche, or did G buy her the Porsche or whatever, which I find to be just so disrespectful. Anyways, so Karen went on to ask her, we know sometimes, you know, you all bring in a third, okay, and you like to watch that, so was it ever Peter? And Mia says, of course, that it was Peter's girl. Now we're getting somewhere. So I don't know about you, but it seems to me that Wendy was hitting way too close to home for Mia, and that's why she was going all crazy like she did. And she's saying it was Peter's girlfriend, but was it really? I don't know, honey. We don't know, because you know that you can't base any of your thoughts and ideas on what Mia says as if it's true. And knowing Mia, she could have completely made this up too. Like, this could have been just a response to Karen's answer. Like, it may have never, ever even happened. Like, who just knows with this lady, with her lies? Because that's what she do all the time if she move her mouth. Anyways, so of course, later we see that she's got a little attitude with Karen because Karen told the other ladies about the situation. And everybody wants to know, like, why you mad at Karen, but you're not mad at Giselle, who told Karen stuff to begin with, which is the only reason that Karen was even asking you about this situation. And we all know the answer to that. It's because Mia wants to be down so very badly with Giselle and Robin. So anything they do is perfectly fine and acceptable. If you watch what happens live after the show, then you saw that evidenced even more. So he did a segment where he's asking them, can they defend certain behaviors? And those two ladies would defend every single thing each of them did, except the thing with Chris Bassett. But everything else, they feel like they're completely legitimate and justified in their horrendous actions, which I find to be really, really deplorable. Like, how do you as adults, like, not find fault in yourselves for any of the wrongdoing? The whole world is reaching out and telling you you're wrong, and y'all don't take accountability for nothing. Robyn sat up there lying through her teeth, talking about she was recording Wendy the whole time. She was recording Mia and Wendy the whole time. No, you weren't. And the reason Andy asked you that is because he saw the same thing we all saw. You had your phone on vertical mode, recording one person. There was never a this motion, only a this motion. Like, we saw you. And then she went on talking about how she was trying to protect Wendy's career. Why are you telling this story? And then, this not even in the episode, this is just Watch What Happens Live. But then she sat up there talking about how it's apples and oranges with Monique and Wendy because Monique was beating Candy up. And all Mia did was pour water. That's what her and Giselle said. Really? She just poured water? She didn't try her best to get to that woman? She didn't break her nail throwing water, I promise you. She broke her nail acting like a fool, trying to swing her bag and trying to throw hands. No, I said I was gonna never do that. Trying to throw hands. Whew, these ladies cannot take accountability. They are above reproach, and according to them, they are never, ever in the wrong. But I digress. So back to Karen. So she asked Mia, so you all had the girlfriend before Peter. And Mia says, yes, he has our leftovers. Okay, but you was just calling him brother. That's not how we talk about brother, sister. First of all, we don't do brother, sister that way. We don't go back and forth. We don't share. We don't. No. No. And so, of course, we heard Wendy already say that Peter said that they weren't even cool because of something Wendy said about the girlfriend. Something Mia said about the girlfriend. Like, Mia is obviously a friend to no one. I saw recently she was posting these pictures on Instagram of her and all these different girlfriends. I believe her point was to say that she has friends other than Jacqueline. Well, honey, let's see how long those last now that everybody knows what a creep you are. Let's see how long those friendships last now that everybody sees you for who you really are and they know that there is no loyalty and that they absolutely should not trust you. Should not. Like, no. So sliding forward to Giselle and Robin's Reasonably Shady live show, and Karen is having a good old time. So she is enjoying the fact that this is already looking like it's about to be real as low budget, as Mia called Candace's video, as it could possibly be. And so she pulls out her phone and says, well, Robyn likes to document things, so let me document this audience. And she said that they had 15, 20 seats in between each person, so everybody is comfortable. That was some good shade. Like, that was some good, fun shade. Anyway, so the MC comes out and he is supposed to be introducing Giselle and Robin because it's their show. And he proceeds to first introduce Robyn Bryant, which is a non-existent character. He doesn't even know their names. And I thought that was so tacky and so rude. He might not have got the second half of his payment from me just on that. That was, I don't know, maybe that's too harsh, but that would have pissed me off. Okay. Anyways, so the show commences and Robyn's mic isn't working. Like, they're having some issues. Unfortunately, Robyn has chose to wear this god-awful ponytail. I don't know whose idea that was. It was better than her reunion hair from season 5 when she had the tire stripes, but whatever. I digress. So the show commences. And as soon as the announcer messed up the names, Karen begins to keep a list of things that she does not want at her live show, which is also very shady. And of course, production wants to draw attention to the fact. So they created graphics to make sure we are also keeping track of all the things that Karen does not want at her live show. So then they move on and Gizelle keeps saying, shady. And I'm thinking, I never want to hear this again in my life. I hope she doesn't do this when they are like on the actual podcast. I think that this is her old auntie way of hyping a crowd up. No, that was very annoying for me. Shady! Why do you keep doing this? So they pull Juan out and they ask, they're asking some questions to the audience based on Juan's behavior of getting up early in the morning and vacuuming in the house. Okay, first of all, if you're the early person and you get up and clean, you're all right with me. I'll have no problems with it. Even if I'm sleeping, honey, I will get over it because you are getting up and cleaning. But then he brings to our attention that it's 11 o'clock a.m. That's not somebody being up early in the morning, baby. You're an hour away from noon. Like, by now, stuff should be happening. I mean, I may be being judgmental, but you're supposed to be running businesses. You got to sell your beauty supply hats. Like, you can't be in the bed at 11 a.m. No. That's not acceptable. Anyway, so we find out she's still doing that. Juan steps off the stage and they bring Ashley on stage to give us the most mayonnaise-y, salt-free renditions of some old school dances. Gizelle dances alongside of her, giving us the stiffest versions. And this is coming from me who has zero rhythm, but I can see. And Karen is talking about how boring it is. Production is showing us folks in the audience, including Mia and some of the other housewives. They're scrolling on their phones. They are not entertained. Like, nobody is really enjoying this. And it just, I don't know. I don't know how they came up with the idea for this live show. I still never figured out who's watching or listening to their podcast, but apparently people are because they're winning awards and stuff like that. So kudos to them for that. But yeah, this live show is just looking like some mess I wouldn't necessarily want to be a part of. To be honest, though, I do wish them success. And I hope that the next time they do a live, that they're more well prepared and they actually, fill the seats and give somebody something that's worth their money. Okay, so Robyn says that they invested about $10,000 into putting on this production, and she later says that they made a profit of about $14,000. I think Robyn and Mia have a lot in common because I didn't see that. That didn't add up for me, because that would mean that you needed to bring in over $24,000, and I didn't see that. For that audience. I didn't see that for that audience size. Now, I didn't get to count heads, but I understand what renting a venue like that costs and paying an MC and paying for the lighting crew and the sound and those things. Yeah, I don't know. I ain't see that. But y'all tell me, y'all think they made $14,000 profit off of that? I'd be hard up to believe that. At one point, some woman in the audience asked, when is Robyn and Juan's wedding date? And I was thinking, I get the feeling that Robyn thinks that people are so concerned about when she's getting married and everybody wants me to get married. No, we just calling you out. People are only asking you about a wedding date to let you know we think you lying. Like, is that understood? Like, do you get that, Robyn? We're basically just calling you out. That's all. We're not hyped or excited about it because we don't believe it's ever happening. So after the show, Giselle sits Jacqueline down and reminds her of the conversation in Miami. And she flat out said, so did Mia buy your Porsche? And Jacqueline was like, I make my own coins. And so Giselle is like, well, when she said, I wouldn't be being a good friend, like, she said she bought your Porsche. And Jackie's like, I don't remember that. And of course, Sharice says, I do. Because Sharice don't have no problem with lying to back up her green-eyed bandits. Like, we have already seen this in action. She don't have no problem with just, yeah. She's right. She's telling the truth. I don't even know how they just check the morals at the door. Just leave them. The cameras are rolling, honey. Forget the truth. Just leave that over there somewhere. Anyways, that annoyed me. So then Giselle went on to continue questioning Jackie and basically asked her if she and G had, And Jackie's response, I thought, was really, really kind of, no disrespect, but kind of dumb. Like, I feel like she is more concerned about protecting Mia and G than she is about protecting her own self, because Mia's not concerned about protecting Jacqueline at all. She's not going to look out for you, honey. So I had the feeling when she said, I don't spill that kind of tea, my first thought was that G had propositioned her. That was, I'm alleging what I thought or whatever. I'm not saying that anybody said this or that is true. But that was my thought, was that it was very likely, because we've seen how G was on at Karen. I should not have done that. But we saw how he was at Karen. So my first thought was that G had propositioned her and she didn't feel comfortable sharing that with the ladies, which I wouldn't either as a friend. But my friend would not have thrown things out there to make it seem like she's taking care of me. Because then they invite Mia into the conversation and they ask her, and she shades the hell out of Jacqueline. I do not know why Jacqueline was ever this woman's friend. She shades the hell out of Jacqueline and says, Jacqueline's car is in her own name. Mia, we know what you're trying to insinuate. And I don't believe that Mia nor G bought Jacqueline's car. I believe Jacqueline bought her car. That's just, I could be being very naive, but that's what I choose to believe. I believe that this sister gets out and works hard and is doing for herself. Or maybe she rented it for the show. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't think that Mia bought her car. And so for Mia to sit down there and try to make herself look big by saying Jacqueline's car is in her own name and trying to make it look like she bought Jacqueline's car is just not a good friend. She's terrible. Like, as a friend, I don't get it. And then somebody said, well, we was thinking maybe G bought it. And she gonna say, G don't have no money. Why would you talk about why would you talk about your husband like that? So she don't care who she drags down. She don't care who she belittles or demeans, as long as she feels like it makes her seem taller and bigger and better in stature. Girl, that's so sad. Like, how did you get to be this way? So they decide that it's appropriate to ask me if Jacqueline has been with G or Gordon. And like, Mia is like dumbfounded, like doesn't know what to say. And Jacqueline's sitting there and it feels like she's waiting for Mia to give her instructions on what to say. And it seems like what they have portrayed as a friendship has never really been that. And it's a different type of relationship where Mia has always been on the receiving end. But yeah, it seemed like Jacqueline was really waiting like for Mia to tell her like, what are the things I'm supposed to say? So Mia is like, well, we need to talk and decide what we're going to share with y'all. So then she says that G is not for her, meaning she is not attracted to him. She would not be interested in him, which again makes me feel like G propositioned her before, or maybe G and Mia propositioned her before and her answer was no. And so they're asking them both like, okay, so G is where you draw the line. And Mia is just like, she doesn't have any words. She's just like, this is too much. These are too many questions, but she can't actually give an answer on anything. So Sharice is like, okay, well, if you were attracted to G, would you? And Gizelle asks Mia, would you be willing to watch that? And neither of them is able to really give an answer. I really feel like Mia and G asked and were turned down. I really feel like that is what's happening here. I'm only speculating. It is only my thoughts and my opinions and my views. I am not at all trying to claim that it's a fact. Anyway, so that was pretty much the end of that episode. Next week, we get to see Ashley's friend coming back, and she's getting her 15 minutes of fame while she's trying to apparently attack Chris, and maybe she's adding Eddie Osefo in there too, which is some real clown type behavior, because honey, you couldn't pay me to believe that Eddie was doing anything inappropriate toward you. I'm sorry. I don't believe Chris did either, but honey, you couldn't even pay me to believe it about Eddie. No, not even. Yeah, have you seen his wife? Like, I'm not a fan of Wendy's, but you've got this beautiful, extremely well accomplished, highly melanated mother of his 3 beautiful children. I just doubt he's checking for you. So I hope she's not about to try to run with that, because she's going to end up looking real stupid if she does. That's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. Leave your comments and opinions below. Bye.